guys, welcome back. Venendrum here. Normally I'd have some gameplay videos for you, but I decided to go ahead and put together something a little bit special. Right now we're going to be looking at matchmaking, and this is mainly from a perspective of a monster player. A lot of people who play hunters, they don't really seem to experience the same kind of piss-poor matchmaking that us monster players do. Now see, I don't want to play anything else but monster, so we're just going to be looking at monster. All these other roles I really don't care about. I got really nothing against the game. I mean, just when it comes to how I play, I really cannot accept playing a hunter. And one thing I do not want to do is join up into a game where I'm a piss poor hunter and I'm ruining somebody else's game. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try and find our hunt. Now right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and see something that we get a lot here as monster matchmaking, is what I like to call a false positive. Now you see here we are in what we call a lobby. This is already very rare to be in, and normally that's a pretty good sign for a player. That means that you've got into a match right before it started, everyone's waiting. So this is sort of the ideal situation, everyone's there. Now, this also means that you have a pretty good chance of getting the role that you want to play. However, if somebody else also has that role, there is a good chance that you're going to be contesting for that. Now, if you're a hunter, there's a little bit more flexibility. You might play something else. When it comes to monster, there's really no flexibility at all. It's either monster or bust. What I've captured here in this little video is pretty much an example of what happens when multiple monster players get in the same room. As you can see, someone else gets the monster slot and I don't. So what I do is I go ahead and I just back out and leave. I am not going to mess up somebody else's game or troll or anything like that. So I got to go all the way back to the start and then look at the wonderful matchmaking resumes in 60 seconds timer. This thing is something I have become very intimate with because I have spent a lot of time with it. Probably so much time my girlfriend will be jealous. Normally in times like this, I would go ahead and just shrink the game and open up something like YouTube, watch some movies, watch something on a different screen, just kind of kill a little bit of time, and then once the timer is complete, we would go ahead and just jump into another match. So, as you can see, the wait time is pretty extensive. I'm not really a big fan of the whole matchmaking resumes in 60 seconds. There are some people who are, but from a monster player perspective, I think this is way too harsh, and it really needs to be fixed. So, the time is ticking down, and we're going to go ahead and try our second attempt. Here we go, finding another hunt. So let's see what this one's going to bring up this time. Alright, now in this case we're already going to be loading up into a map but without even seeing a lobby. So this happens more often than not, and it's still going to be a bit of a coin toss on what's going to happen. Generally during this time, a player like myself will try to be thinking of strategies or whatever they'd be doing for that particular map. And it's a very big letdown when it loads up and pretty much this is what you see. Attention, the connection to your previous session has been lost or no longer exists. Lovely. So, but the upside is we don't get one of those old timers. So, now here's another problem you guys might be privy to when it comes to monster players. Now, this is a very interesting case here. This is a very slow load, so I'm not sure if the host has a problem or anything, but this one was a particularly long one. I don't know why, but it was. But as it goes out, I'm pretty much going to do a little play-by-play on how this worked, because I found this to be a good example of something that happens a little bit more often than it should. And this is one of my big gripes about the matchmaking system, and why I'm very happy I've actually got it on film. So we've loaded up with one other person into a lobby with 3 open slots. My role is monster. We have ample time. We see our next map is about to load. And so the map loads. Now generally what the game is supposed to do, it's supposed to allocate new players to this particular lobby. It's supposed to put them in there, populate it, and let us play. Now it seems, more often than not, something happens where no players are really allocated in very well. I don't know why, it just is. And maybe luck of the draw, whatever. So generally most players will be loading up during this portion where we see the refueling tower loading screen. This is when you would see a lot of people just drop in. But unfortunately it's still just me and that one person. So there I am in the monster slot. Now in this particular situation, I'm not going to ready up. I'm not going to pick my abilities. I'm not going to pick anything. I'm going to wait almost the whole 2 minutes to see if I can help populate this room. And so far, I'm excited that we got one person because that means, oh, we're going to have a few more. So I just wait patiently. And understand this is just 2 minutes. We're waiting patiently. I'm seeing that he's picking Assault. Good. And then suddenly, he leaves. He drops out. He's gone. Now we're back to square one. Now we're back to me and the other guy. No one else is joining. The matchmaking system is not populating this. Now this is during prime time. This is during the time when most players are active. And it's not populating the game. And this is a persistent problem. Something is wrong with the lobby. I don't know what, but something is wrong. So we wait. And we wait. And we wait some more. Now that I see the time's ticking down, I'm going to go ahead and pick me my monster, which is going to be Kraken. I know it's green skin because I prefer that on refueling tower. I'm also going to go with stamina boost because, well, it's pretty much the most OP ability right now in patch 1.3 in my personal opinion, because the major buffs for Kraken really make that thing very, very hard to deal with because it can just keep on moving when it's got the hook shot from Griffin, and also it'll help to negate the whole Val tranquilizer thing. So that's my pick, and I'm hoping, well, I'm a monster, so maybe in time people will come in. But generally, if no one joins in, I will go ahead and opt to vote to end the match. And that's what I'll do, restart the round, so that way we can go back and wait for more people. I don't know why, but for some reason that person said no, so I went ahead and just tried to give him some entertainment. I got to play a monster. I know it wasn't going to be fair. However, not very long after that, he left the match, and I get the waiting for players to load thing, which eventually kicks me out, and then the cycle continues. So that's another failed attempt to get into a game. Yay. And so we go back to our 4th attempt at trying to find a game. Now this time we're going to be loading up on Rendering Plant, and during this time my mind is swimming with a whole bunch of possibilities. As a monster player, I'm trying to think of which monster do I want to use on this map. Then I think about what's the strategy I want to use, which direction I want to go, which elite buff I want to try to go for first. All these things I keep thinking of because I am anticipating what I'm going to be doing. And now I'm starting to see players load in, and that's a good sign. There's only a few people in there. Maybe I can get in. And then suddenly I realize I'm a hunter. Now, not just anything, but a hunter in a match that just started. I cannot do hunters, especially on matches that just start. Now that I'm stuck here for another 60 seconds, waiting and looking at this lovely clock, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that there are times where I do play Hunter. There are times where I will wait it out. When I see that the match is looking terrible, everyone's already dead, the monster is beating them up, clawing them down, I'm like, okay, this is going to be over soon. I'll be playing monster, yay. And so I'll wait it out. At that point, I don't see any reason to leave, because I know that in less than a minute I'll go ahead and play monster, and that's going to save me a lot of hassle and pain from going back to the stupid matchmaking system that I'm currently suffering through right now. So anyway, what we're going to do is wait for the timer to go, and we're going to go for our 5th attempt. That's right, attempt number 5. Is 5 going to be the lucky number? Let's find out. Okay, let's go ahead and find us a hunt. So, as we look at this lovely screen, we see that it's quickly filling up with more players. This is normally not the best sign, because I'm not being distributed into a lobby. As a monster, the ideal is to be distributed into a lobby, because then I feel I have the best chance to actually get to play the role I want to play. If it's loading up a map, just like Distillery here, my heart begins to sink, because at that point there's only one of 4 things that can happen. The first is that I'll be a monster, and it's the monster at the beginning of its lifespan. However, no one's playing it for some reason. Game's loading up, all the abilities have been picked, and it has a perk that I have no idea what. Good chance I'll play that out and see how it rolls. Number 2, I'll be dropped in as a monster at the end of its lifespan, and it's about to die. Typically at that point, I'm pretty much going to leave, because if the monster is going to die, then there's really no reason for me to be there, because the game is going to count that as me playing the monster, and that was my turn, and then it will promptly kick me into a hunter slot in the next match. So then I would choose to leave. Number 3 is I get dropped in as a hunter middle of the game. Of course, as you see, I hit it and I'm going to leave. And number 4 is what you just saw, is I drop into the lobby right before the match as a hunter, and it puts me in a position it thinks I want to play. Well, again, I'm just going to leave and get right back to the matchmaking. Yay. Now, for the next 10 minutes of this video, it's going to be pretty uneventful. You're going to see me join up into numerous games as a hunter and back out. So, for this period of time, we're going to go ahead and talk about possible resolutions to this issue. How can we as monster players get into games a lot better? Now, let's first address the fact that Turtle Rock has already come out and said that they are working on a queue system. However, they did not give any kind of ETA on this system. And they have not necessarily said that they will be putting such a queue system into normal matchmaking. They said if they do add it, it'd probably be something that they're going to be throwing in for the ranked structure, so that way you'll be able to play a monster every time. Well, that's well and good and all, but that still does not really address the major problem. Now, they said it might bleed over into the normal game if it worked pretty well. Well, right now I can tell you that there's a little bit more problematic to the matchmaking system than just a lacking of a queue system. Yes, a queue system would definitely address some problems, but right now we're dealing with a lot of players that are not necessarily going by the sheets. They're not going by the numbers. The major plan for the entire matchmaking system is to assume that people are going to actually stick around for the match, and people are going to share roles. Well, people are inherently selfish. We want to play what we want. We want to do what we want. We pay money to achieve those things. One major way that we can change matchmaking, make it better, to improve upon it, is allow people to vote. Not just voting on maps, but vote on the people they want to play with. There are games like Halo that incorporate a similar system, to where if
at the conclusion of a match, the people can choose to vote to stick with certain people, and those people who do not choose to stick with them can be allocated back into the system. One of the major flaws with matchmaking right now is that it will pair you up with the same people at the conclusion of each game. Now, there are some games where I admit I consecutively wanted to fight the same people over and over again. In situations like that, I would choose to go ahead and vote to continue playing with them. And if they liked me as a monster, they would accept that vote, and we would all continue to have fun playing in our own little private match until we all got bored and wanted to get thrown back into the allocation system. Well, that's an ideal situation. What needs to happen for the vast majority of people is that we need to be thrown into a pool that's a different kind of pool than what we got. At the conclusion of every match, we need to be thrust into a new pool. We need to be taken out of the game that we were in, and we need to be put into new games. We need to shuffle people around, and after each game, it needs to throw people into positions that what they feel can prioritize that role each and every time, or put into a little queue system, whatever. It needs to be something where at the conclusion of each game, you get a fresh lot of people. This will cut back on people quitting and jumping back to the main menu. This will keep people in the pool. This would cut back on people looking at the 60 seconds matchmaking system, keeping more people in the pool. This would have more people to deal with, and then more people to allocate to the roles they probably want to play, and keep games going a little bit more smoothly. Now, that all sounds well and good. How well it would actually practice out, and how well Turtle Rock would actually do it, and how long it would take them to develop it, is up in the air. But they need to do something. Something, because right now they're doing nothing. Nothing at all. And they have not really announced anything other than, we are working on a ranked mode. And yes, a lot of players are going to be going into the ranked mode, but that's not going to address the normal matchmaking problems. It might serve as a nice little testing ground, but there still needs to be something else. There needs to be something more, something that makes this system a little easier to use, especially for monster players. Right now, I've spoken to a lot of hunter players. Hunter players seem to be all right with playing different roles. They're a little bit more flexible, because hunters, they play pretty similarly. You're in a first-person shooter situation, jetpack's the same, you have the same obstacles, you're all fighting the same monster. It feels largely the same. As a monster player, I'm really offended that Turtle Rock would assume that I would actually enjoy playing their hunters. Now, that's optimism on their side of the game, but you see, when you are a persistent monster player, someone who plays monster a lot, you get to feel that the game is very, very different, and you move differently. The environment's different. The view in which you look at the world is entirely different. As a monster, you are moving around, caring very little about what's under your feet, and you're looking straight ahead. You're looking for the next prey. You are sensing everything else around you, and it's almost like you are a hacker fighting against people who do not have that hackbot, and you're trying to outplay them without people being suspicious that you're a hacker. So you feel like that badass. When you're a hunter, you feel that you're a disadvantage. Every step you take is a dangerous one. You don't know what's under your feet. You have to constantly be watching your surroundings, not because you're in danger of, say, the monster. You're in danger because the environment is naturally dangerous. Normally things that if you were a monster, the animals that you would be doing away with and then eating suddenly become dangerous, and they will grab you and kill you, and it's very frustrating. There are some people who can work that balance, who can enjoy playing the hunter and the monster, but then they become that whole jack-of-all-trades situation. Only few people can really master both. Myself, I'm one of those people who can only play Monster and only enjoy Monster, and that's the only reason why I bought this game, is to play Monster. And every time I try to get on this game to enjoy playing Monster, I have to deal with the pain of this stupid matchmaking system. It really does bug me, and I'm really hoping that this video helps to highlight some of the problems that is really troubling people like me. The only reason why I'm still persisting to deal with it is because the game for me is just worth it. I can deal with it because I know playing a monster is fun enough to continue. But not everybody's like me. Not everybody is going to deal with that problem. People are going to get frustrated. People have gotten frustrated. People have, voiced out their problems with the system. And we really haven't gotten a lot of feedback from the developers assuring us that the system is going to improve. I'm really trying to help out the community with this video and hoping that somebody important will watch it and understand that there is really a problem here and something is wrong, and we're not really sure what on the player end. It needs to be looked at on the developer side. And that's all I really have to say about that. Now, we're going to go ahead and continue seeing what happens once we finally get to a match.
At this point, I've rather lost count on how many times I've had to keep loading up into the system and keep finding a game. But we're in a lobby again. That's some hope. So maybe I might finally get where I want. I suppose that at this point I should talk about one of my big problems with how the game loads. I'm not really a huge fan of seeing the map load and then after that being able to choose the role. It seems like a humongous waste of time.
So, after a brief pause here, we're loading up Refueling Tower. And you can see that finally, after all this effort, I am now in a monster slot. Oh, the relief I feel! This is such elation. It is like I have climbed an insurmountable mountain, and now I am at the peak, looking down. Well, at the conclusion of that game, I hope to continue playing a monster. And so that game is over, and now we're loading the next map. Now we get into the final problem of the matchmaking system, is that because of everybody's roles, if I win or play a monster, win or lose, it doesn't matter. At the conclusion of that match, I will be thrust out, and I will then become a hunter if someone else has monster as their primary role. So this makes me leave the game, and I jump back into the pool. And I go once again swimming into the matchmaking system and dealing with the 60-second penalty. This is how my game pretty much plays out every time I turn it on. And it's really starting to get old. And I admit, I'm a really, really patient person.
Now, one thing that also bears mentioning for my fellow Steam users out there, one of our biggest gripes and humongous oversights that we feel Turtle Rock needs to address ASAP is the extremely poor integration with the Steam built-in functions on player tracking. It's very, very difficult for us to invite friends into the game because we can't really save friends from the game. My normal tactic for finding people is taking a screenshot, then going into Steam, using the Steam's piss poor functions to find that person,
add them to my friends list, and then we'll go from there. Why can't I just go to recently played games, see a list of people that I recently played with from Evolve? It says what time I played with them, what day I played with them, and I can add them there. Well, also, why can't I just do it from the in-game lobby? When I'm talking to people, when we're waiting for the game, why can't I just pick anybody, right-click them, and say add friend on Steam? I mean, it's just bare bones, it's lazy, and it's very disappointing. And it's really something that I feel is hurting the game on PC, and I don't think the developers really understand how important that is for the Steam community. And we like to keep playing with people that we like, and we want to find new friends. We want to play people who also play Evolve and join with them. I haven't played Xbox and I haven't played PS4, but I'm pretty sure the system is a hell of a lot easier on those consoles. We are really getting punished over here on the PC side of things, and I know a lot of players are disappointed about that. Alright, well, see.
I said...
Look at that. Look, I ate my words.
We are both last, so there we go. So you're not the monster, I'm not the monster.
For purposes of your video, I'll let you know I also had Monster as my #1 selection.
Lovely, we're a whole team of everyone monsters. Well, we're going back into the Nexus again. Hopefully we'll meet again, so take care.
Oh, wait.
I've been playing this game since launch, and this has pretty much been my experience every time I try to play. And even though they say that they're going to be working on the matchmaking system, it just kind of feels like they're in denial that it's actually this bad, and they don't really want to address it. So that's actually why I've gone through the trouble of making this fantastic, riveting matchmaking video. Let's go at it again. Find game. Hunt. Oh look, another lobby. Let's see what happens this time. This is actually pretty good for this video. Normally I don't get this many lobbies. Anybody watching this is actually quite lucky. Yeah, I almost never get this. It always joins me up into a game in progress.